Okay, hello everybody. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you and welcome to our return retreat, our book party slash autumn celebration slash live gathering. So glad to see you. Hi, Karen and Jody and Teal and Bridget and Kim and Saray and Dawn, Evelyn, Colleen. Oh boy, so glad to see you all here. I hope we'll see some more people joining in soon. I know it can be a little tricky to get connected, especially since this gathering is open to the whole population, so to speak. I'm anticipating that there might be a little bit of joining in issues as people get familiar with how the Patreon live system works. We're still figuring out how the Patreon live system works, even though we've been using it weekly since March. We still have to work our way through some little bumps in the road. Hi, Taryn. Hi, Nova. So glad to see both of you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my audio started up, and then we will get settled in for our little retreat time. Last year, I did Replenish retreats all year after the publication of Replenish, and so I thought it would be fun to do a return retreat celebrating the publication of the new book Return, but also just giving you a sacred autumn pause to return to yourself, to return to the sacred, to return to this moment, to return to your own landscape of living. Hello, Anna Maria. So glad you're here too. Okay, so inviting you to take a deep breath and allow yourself to settle in to yourself, into this time, this place, into your body, into your breath. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Kim. That makes me happy to hear. It is always, there's always a tender place when you set a new book baby free into the world that it's going to land with people the way you hope it will land. So anyway, welcoming you all here, welcoming you to our return retreat, and of course, including the people who will join us via replay later, because this, unlike my other lives, this replay will be available more publicly and accessible to other people. So anyway, taking a deep breath. Let's keep going. Taking a deep breath and calling your spirit back into this time, this place, this moment. Hi, Bridget. Hi, Mandy. Hi, Lori. Okay, so inviting yourself in, inviting yourself to return, remembering that you are always invited to return, to cross the threshold back into your own heart again and again and again. And sometimes it really is as simple as that. You feel like you've lost your way. You feel like you're scrambled and fragmented. You feel like you're wandering in the darkness. The answer very often is simply to return, to just go ahead and cross that threshold right back in that exact moment of discombobulation or frazzlement or feeling out of center. Feeling out of center is your invitation to center. Feeling like you're not present is your invitation to become present. Feeling disconnected is your invitation to connect. So the doorway is right there. So again, deep breath, inviting yourself to return. And then briefly allowing yourself to just presence yourself in your landscape of living, your landscape right here, out your own window, out your own front door, whatever your current outer landscape holds. And also presencing yourself with your inner landscape, whatever your inner landscape holds. Whether it's feeling peaceful and calm, or whether it's a dry mud flat. I got that phrase from Jennifer Loudon in one of her books. Like, how's your inner landscape? Is it a parched dry desert? Is it a lush rolling green field? Is it a jumbled garden? Sometimes I feel like mine is a really wild garden full of all kinds of things, and some are withering and some are juicy and some are beautiful and covered with butterflies, and some are covered with thorns. That's sometimes how I feel like my own inner garden is kind of a wild and rambunctious landscape with all kinds of stuff in there, most of which is flourishing. So, okay. So letting yourself tune into that landscape of living, both inner and outer. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking part in this retreat. Thank you for ordering the book. If you ordered the book, it became available worldwide today on Amazon, so it can be accessed in hardcover and in pocket size on Amazon, really pretty much in just about every country. It's also available in Kindle edition pretty much everywhere. And I also, I'm out because you're also amazing. I'm out of the actual pre-order copies that I had ordered in advance to have in the shop. So you can't actually get it on Etsy right now, which is kind of ironic. I wish I would have, if I'd planned just a little slightly bit better, I could have had some copies on launch day to actually be available in the shop. But you all ordered them and they're all gone, and that's wonderful. So thank you so much for having placed those orders, and hopefully some new books will come in soon for people who didn't get one yet and who would like the signed copy with the book, with the postcard and things like that. Oh, Bridget, I'm so glad you're wearing your Black Moonstone bracelet. I have mine on too. So that's great. Okay. So I said, hi, Tammy. Glad to see you too. I think you're the last person that I missed. I said, I got Lori. But hi, Tammy also. So anyway, I wanted to go ahead, since we are at this threshold of fall. We're stepping into October. We are entering, I just noticed my calendar still says September, just one of those things. But here we are at this really in a very magical, liminal threshold time. I know I keep using the phrase threshold, but I really feel like there's just this palpable sensation in the fall months of being on the threshold. And I think we're on the threshold both of change and of new things happening, but we're also on the threshold of letting things go and laying things aside. It's very much a liminal space of betweenness, of holding multiple things, letting things go, receiving, accepting things, choosing new things. We're at this place of betweenness. And so I have a poem about October to welcome in October as we step across the threshold into that magical month of enchantment, but also of descent into winter, descent into a sacred pause, descent into the dark part of the year. And that is so good. Oh, Saray, I'm so glad you like the prints and the bookmarks. I know the postcard has the reverse. It's the reverse. And that just has to do with how my brain sometimes works. I joke about how I hold things up. So you just have to flip it. Oops, whoops. See, I'm just demonstrating. Whoop, flip. It's reversed, and that just has to do with when I order the postcards, it's actually sideways on the screen, and so having to mentally flip it isn't one of my personal skills. So I do pretty good with the little tiny tag style ones, but the postcard eluded me that time, and I just had to send it out the way it was. So anyway, many lessons in acceptance all around us all the time. So anyway, here's my October poem, and so here we go. And so October arrives in all her autumn glory, red and gold and streaked with grace and charm. She invites you in. The door is open. The time is here. You are welcome to sit for a spell, to set down what you carry, make a cup of tea, and listen to your own life. You can trust the tasks will resume. For now, pause, savoring the sweetness of change, the delight that arises from inhabiting the rhythms of your own life in harmony with the season's patient invitation into being. This is a time of magic, enchantment, and wonder. Take deep breaths of October. Say yes to what she is here to give. Say yes to what she is here to give. So that is a little message from October and a welcome into October. Okay. So I also wanted to, I will come back to the book soon, but I also wanted to go ahead and read today's reading from 365 Days of Goddess. I do have my beautiful hardback edition here. I went to Writers Club yesterday and I was showing all my beautiful, fun new hardback editions. It's funny to have been writing and publishing books for more than 10 years now and to only have just now experienced the delight of a hardback in my life. And somehow it seemed like, I guess it was somehow beyond my reach, but That is so good. So the reading from today's 365 Days of Goddess reading is kind of a practice and a process in one. And I feel like it is a good reminder, a fall reminder to us too, an October reminder. So here it's a practice, a process, a invitation, a possibility all in one. Be patient with your weary spirit, your fast beating heart, your wild eyes, the ideas bubbling furiously in your whirling mind, the lists that chime, not enough time, not enough time. Calm your breathing and your thoughts and come back to where you are right now. Is there blue sky? Are there yellow leaves dancing through twists of air? Are there distant vultures wheeling through the sky, reminding you to let go of what is unnecessary? Is there a pause, just a tiny one, to lay a hand against your heart and say, yes, this too. Yes, this too. To recognize how much you do and how intensely complex you are. Let your thoughts drift to the wise grandmother self within. What does she have to say? What does she have to say? And you may actually wish to explore that after we get done with this retreat. Let yourself sit with that wise grandmother self within and listen to what she has to say. One thing at a time. Move at your own pace. You have what you need. You are loved. Surrender to the rhythm. Be patient. Watch the leaves dance and the sky call. There is only now. Allow it to be beautiful just the way it is. Allow it to be beautiful just the way it is. So taking a moment to let that one settle in and listen to that wise grandmother self. There's a perfect time of year. I talk about how we have both ancestors of stone and ancestors of bone. And this is the time of year to listen to those ancestors of stone and those ancestors of bone, but also to that wise grandmother self within. Sometimes it can be helpful to look forward and imagine yourself, in the future. And what would she say? Oh, honey, this is what you need to know. Honey, this is what you need to know. And so you can invite yourself to consider that question in journaling or even just in a dream. I feel like I wake at this time of year often from half dream, half memories of grandparents gone by, but also that voice from the wise grandmother self within. So that is good. Oh, Janetta, I'm so glad you're here too. And Ruth is here. Yay. Okay, so good. I'm so glad to see you all. Okay, so wise grandmother selves and giving yourself a pause. I wanted to make sure to say that I really feel like, so I know return I love the name. I have my return ring on. I have my book named Return. I picked the name when I was writing Replenish, actually. So I wrote Replenish. Woo! Pay no attention to Molly's inability to hold things straight for the camera. Anyway, the Replenish book, when I wrote the Replenish book, I knew as I was writing it that it was going to have a sister, and the sister was named Return. Like I thought, I'm going to write Replenish, and she's going to have a sister, and the sister's name is Return. So I already knew that. And so I feel like the Return book was started at the same time as the Replenish book, but it had to wait. It had to wait its turn in line, so to speak, to come through. But I really feel like through all these years of spiritual exploration and goddess studies and self-development and all the reading that I've done and all that kind of things, I almost feel like Return just can sum up so many things in just a single word. That it's a practice, it's a process, it's a prayer, and it's a promise, and it's all rolled up into that one single word: practice, promise, prayer, and practice, process, practice, promise, prayer, and process, all rolled up together into one word. And it's an invitation, it's an opportunity, and it's kind of a life philosophy, all encapsulated in a single word. So it's a spiritual philosophy, it's an outlook, and it's a practice all in one. It's a life practice, and it's an invitation. It's all summed up just in that one little reminder that we have that within us, that one word spell of power. We all know it. There's a one word spell of power, and we know it, and it is return. It is return. And so I will say, I was kind of, like I said about the book title, when it comes up though, it says, like when you're looking something up and it says return book, it makes things, if you're searching for it, it's like, how do you return a book at Amazon? I'm like, no, I'm not talking about returning as in giving something away. I'm talking about returning as in coming back home, and not filing a return to send your book back. So anyway, I bumped up against that a couple times when I was looking like in order history or things like that. It's like, oh, do you want to do a return? No, it's the name of the book. So, oh yeah, that's a good example, that the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return. We've sung that at ritual before. And yes, begin again. We're always invited to begin again. And I think that relieves so much of the perfectionism that can arise with self-help and self-development, and really kind of living a conscious life and an intentional life can sometimes get layered up with perfectionism, and it can get layered up with doing it right. And so it's really important to come back to those things, that we can begin again and that we're always invited to return. And so it's okay to, if life gets bumpy sometimes, we're always invited to return. And so that is what I wanted to share. And then I wanted to read a little section to you from the beginning of the book, because it talks about that experience of return. And yeah, so I was thinking when I was working on it, I'm like, if I could sum up anything about daily practice, about spiritual path, about exploration and discovery, it's this process of remembering, reclaiming, and returning. But if I could only pick one, it would be to return. So as you're already familiar with the opening quote that I used in the book, which comes from Patricia Lynn Riley in her book, I Promise Myself, I heard her actually share this quote during Woman Spirit Reclamation, which is now closed. Patricia Lynn Riley was doing a class based on this. It was a vow. It was a vow of faithfulness class based on her book, I Promise Myself. So if you can get a hold of the book, I Promise Myself, it's a really good one. And it goes through, I'm going to use it with a small group, I think, too, because it really takes you through this process of reclamation and return. And I just fell in love with this quote from her. And I've used it so many times since then. There will always be distractions. Our life practice is to return, always returning home again. Home is always waiting. It is as near as a conscious breath, conscious contact with your body, and a descent into the rich resources of your inner life. So that short little sentence, our life practice is to return, to me is just like, a goddess lightning strike of inspiration. Yes, our life practice is to return. And that's a very compassionate way when you're experiencing something that's bumpy or rocky or hard or challenging, or you're not acting the way you want to be acting, you're not being the kind of person you're capable of being, to remind yourself it's part of the life practice. It's part of the life practice. The life practice is to return, and here I am. And that means I can come back right now because I'm always invited to return. And then another quote from the beginning of the book from Christina Baldwin in Life's Companion. And I love this too, because, and you will know that I'm in love with the sacred in the ordinary and the magical in the everyday. And so she writes, spirituality is the sacred center out of which all life comes, including Mondays and Tuesdays and rainy Sunday afternoons in all their mundane and glorious detail. The spiritual journey is what the soul is up to while we attend to daily living. They're not separated. The soul is up to this exploration while we attend to the tasks of daily living. And they're not separate experiences. They're woven together into this network of belonging and this network of return. And so that was what I wanted to share from the beginning of the book there with you. And let me see, I think I had another section I wanted to share with it. Actually, so I've got a variety of things in there. And I go back and forth. When you write a new book, you have this moment of thinking, it's great, it's done. And then you have a moment of thinking, should I even have written it? And then you have another moment of thinking, yay. And then you have another moment of thinking, I should have done everything differently. And I've come to see that. This is my 16th book. And I've come to see that that's part of a normal process too, that we go through the, just like relationships aren't perfect and parenting isn't perfect. We have this when we put our creative projects out into the world, it's with the understanding that they aren't perfect either, and they won't always land the way we hope. When we send them off into the world with a wish and a prayer, we don't know what's going to become of them or how they're going to land with people. And so we can just send them off with all the love and hope and trust that we can muster, and to kind of trust them to take their own journeys when they become separate from us. And so I do want to go ahead and share actually page 8 speaks to your soul, Kim. That is good to hear. I'm like, what is on page 8? Oh, oh, I guess it depends on which book, which version you have as well, because the smaller book, the page numbers are different than the bigger book. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the opening section, just as a reminder, verbally shared with you about that. And as I said, that we all know this one word spell of power. It's return. The one word spell of power. We can press it into ourselves and we can remember again and again. Sometimes we feel centered and serene. Sometimes we feel disconnected and uncertain. Always we are invited to return to breath and body, to land and spirit, to the sacred embodied within us and around us. The life practice truly is to return. It is not to get it all figured out. It is not to be serene and spiritual at all times. It is not to fix yourself or anyone else. It is just to return. And each day we are invited to do so. There's many moments in a given day when we're invited to return. We're invited to step into the sacred, to come home to our own bodies, our own hearts, and our own lives. Each day we are invited to forgive ourselves for forgetting, to begin again, to reclaim our power and inhabit our wholeness. And so that is really that's at the core of it. That's at the heart of it. And so, whoops, I'm dropping my tiny book. I want to see. Oh, yeah. That is, life isn't, this is from page 8 in the paper book. Life isn't about figuring it all out or becoming perfect. It is about a continuous, compassionate practice of returning to your center, your values, and your sacred connection with yourself and the world around you. And so, like I said, it's a spiritual concept and it's a life philosophy all rolled up into one little handy word. And so I do want to go ahead and share the reading from the day 6 in the book with you as well. And for some reason, this whole time that I was getting ready to do the retreat, I was thinking it was a different poem for today. I thought it was one that was about grit and glory, which is a phrasing that I use at other times too, but it's not the one that's about grit and glory. It is a one that actually was my closing message this year from my Omen Days practice. So this poem is based on what I wrote as my end of the year. So my message for December in the Omen Days was this message that ended up making it into the book. I had a trouble choosing. I write so many things and I had trouble choosing what to include. And I decided to kind of start. I always say that too, start where your feet are. I decided to kind of start where I was instead of trying to go backwards and get poems that I'd written in 2023 or get poems that I'd written in 2024. I thought, I think I'm actually going to start kind of right where I am. And so it's actually really fitting that this is the one we're on for our book party day, because it was kind of a summation almost of a year's worth of lessons all rolled up into one day's message. So here we go. And you can invite yourself, since this is a process of returning, you can invite yourself to just sit there with a hand on your heart, taking a deep breath, and maybe even doodling in a journal or writing your own responses with this message. Keep walking through your life with ease, with a joyful and open heart. Marvel at how much change is possible. Keep love, desire, creativity, delight, and wonder at your fingertips. Be flexible when inspiration beckons. Revel in contentment. Allow yourself to bask in all that has become real, all that has become real, all you have opened the door to, all that has softened and strengthened you. Take a deep breath of gratitude, of acceptance, of peace and renewal. Keep watching it all unfold. Delight in what you've made. Notice what you've found. Hold it holy. Let your understanding crystallize with clarity and appreciation. Smile at how much power there has been in choosing a way. Listen to the liminal. That's where we are right now. Listen to the liminal, the space between that invites contemplation and integration. Let what you have learned soak into you. Commit once more to this, your life, to embodying your magic and living your prayers, to inhabiting devotion, to participating wholeheartedly in life's arising, immersed in the current of the sacred that underlies and informs your days. Breathe out and smile. Breathe in and feel peace. Walk gently in the palm of her hand. Walk gently in the palm of her hand. That is an image that has carried me through many, many, many a day, is walking gently in the palm of her hand. So there is a prompt that goes with it. Open to noticing. What are you noticing today? What is filling your life with goodness? I hope filling your life with goodness. And an affirmation, I walk in the palm of her hand. I come back to that over and over and over again. Oh, hi, Anne. Glad you're here too. Colleen, thank you. Okay. So I had made some little cards that went with this retreat. What I did is I went through past cards and I looked for anything that had return in it. And there's a little ritual of returning for you that you may wish to do right after this retreat is over. So there's a green card that has a ritual of returning on it. And that's a good practice to fill you, restore you, and it really only takes like under 10 minutes to do this little ritual of returning. So I included that for you as well. And then I had, oh good, Dawn, I'm glad you enjoyed them. Whoops, I have made something pop up, but now it's popped down. Okay. So one of the cards was, like I said, I was going through older cards looking for ones with return, and I love to share little quotes and things from other people. And so this quote comes from Victoria Erickson in her book Rhythms and Roads. And for the full moon, that's a great idea. And this is her quote: "The medicine is when you return to yourself." That's the medicine. The medicine is when you return to yourself, where you will remember your own strength, reclaim your own rhythm, and write your new song. So the medicine is there when you return to yourself, remember your own strength, reclaim your own rhythm, and write your new song. And so some journal questions to consider from that card are: what is your medicine? What is the medicine that you need? What song are you writing? And I know people, so I think very metaphorically all the time, and I'm always thinking in turn, I don't really mean that you're actually writing a song. And I've shared some things, I've done different things with different groups, and sometimes people will get focused on, I used to play this musical instrument when I was a kid, or I used to sing. And I'm like, well, I'm not actually talking about really songs. I mean, maybe you want to write real songs, but I'm really talking about the metaphorical song, the song of yourself, the song of your soul. And something I say too is that, we're part of I consider each of us is a note in the note in the love song life's singing to herself. Like, we're a note in that love song. If we boil it all the way down to the essence, we're part of that love song that life's singing to herself. And so when you write your new song, it could actually be a song. If you want to write a song, songs are wonderful to write, but I'm really meaning, like, what's your soul song? What's yours? What are you here to do and be and share and sing and tell and experience? And that's the song that I'm talking about. Kind of your soul song that comes up from within you. So anyway, that's your medicine. And that was the little quote and question card. And then the affirmation card, and this is a powerful one. This is the practice of center. That two of my favorite words, center and return, in one affirmation is just, I return to center. And that helps so, so, so much when you are trying to take care of it all. And all of us, there's a lot to care about. There's a lot to take care of. And when you're trying to take care of it all, reminding yourself to return to center is a powerful practice, as well as a prayer all rolled up into one, to return to center. And then choose from there. When we return to center and we choose from there, we often make better choices, more loving, more aligned, more harmonious, more powerful choices when we return to center first and then we choose, instead of feeling like we have to choose in the middle of somebody else's need or in the middle of a bunch of other decisions. Return to center first and then choose from there. That's easier said than done. Sometimes you have to choose, in the minute, but returning to center first and then choosing is very, very powerful practice. And so let's see. I have a little drink of water. Okay. So I did want to offer us, we're almost done already. I can't believe how fast it goes, but luckily we're always invited to return, so we don't have to feel time strapped. But if anybody has any book questions or anything like that, you can go ahead and drop them in the chat, and I would happily have a little tiny space for Q&A before we close out our retreat space for today. Maybe I should have done 45 minutes instead, but I feel like a half an hour. It really is special to me that you choose to spend some of your time here with me and with one another, and also via replay, taking time out to watch the replay later. That is, it's your attention is a potent and powerful prayer, and it is so valuable. It's such a valuable thing, and so what a gift it is to share that with one another and with me. It's very special. So thank you, Jody. I'm so glad that you've enjoyed it. So if there's any book questions, feel free to drop them for me, or you can also send a question later and I can do a little follow-up, or we can talk about it briefly during Simple and Sacred. I did want to remind everybody that our October Simple and Sacred Circle is coming up on the 17th. So it is not this week, but it is next week, and we'll have a Samhain-themed circle and some more time to share some thoughts about the life practice being to return. And so, oh good, I'm so glad. Yes, Kim, I will be restocking in the Etsy shop. The books are actually on their way. Oh, and I can't show you a picture right now, but finally the next order of Woman Runes, we are down to about 5 Woman Runes decks, and they've been slowly making their way here as a freight shipment, and they finally came today, and they're all sitting out there in this big giant stack, because we order 1,000 decks at a time. So there's 1,000 decks of Woman Runes cards sitting in my yard right now, and but the new return books are also on their way here. I hope they're supposed to be here by the 18th is when they should be here. So if I timed it slightly better, they'd be here today, but they're not. And that's just one of those things. So I am, So I did want, oh, Dawn, it feels like coming home when a special group of souls is together. I'll happily return again and again. I'm so, so glad that you do. And so I do want to share another one of our little cards. We'll just go a little tiny bit past time. If you need to leave, that's okay. There will be a replay, but I want to share that little card as well, because it's about that invitation to returning to center again and again. Colleen, there's nothing different about the runes. We were just out of the decks and had to order more. It's very expensive to order more, so we were really treading the line about when to do it, because it costs a lot of money, and we were also very concerned about tariffs and all that kind of stuff. It felt like a risky move to put out that much money and hope that everything was going to get to us fine. And so anyway, so happy to see them. Okay, thank you, Bridget. Thank you so much. Okay, so here we go with one of our closing little poems here. Life is full and minds are busy, and whether we pause to see it or not, the world spins with constant change. Today there are white clouds hiding the sun, yellow walnut leaves gently dancing through the air. There is the sound of a distant tractor, and there are crows slipping across the sky. There is a bundle of wild rye and dried asters leaning on spotted leaves of wild grapevine, remnants of last week's ceremony. There is sumac going to red and blackberry leaves, rust-edged and drooping. What do you see where you are? What magic of place is inviting you into presence? May you take a deep breath, lay a hand on your heart, and return to center again and again. Return to center again and again. Okay, so Now we're really going to go ahead and close with the very final poem from the Return book about what it means to return. So that's the final section in here. It was actually one of the first things I wrote for this book that was specifically for this book. I collect it's an interesting process of things that you've written for other other times, other places, other years, and then things that you wrote, things that I wrote specifically for this book. So this was one of the first things I wrote for this specifically for this book, and then it's ended up being the end. And so I wanted to close with that. Oh, Karen, I'm glad you got it working. I hope that means you got it working. I saw you're having some connection troubles, and so here we're really closing out now with this to return. And so again, deep breath, inviting yourself to settle and center. To return. To return is to remember you are a note in the love song life is singing to herself. To trust you belong to her rhythm. To return is to stand barefoot on the earth that has always held you, feeling an ancient conversation between soil and bone. To return is to forgive yourself for forgetting again and again that you were never meant to be perfect, only present. To return is to cup your hands around the small flame of wonder that burns within you despite all attempts to extinguish it and continue to let it shine. To return is to honor the threshold moments, those sacred between times where mystery whispers and transformation waits. To return is to recognize that your path is not linear, but a spiral that brings you back to yourself with new wisdom. To return is to create margins for magic around the edges of your days, small pockets where your spirit remembers to connect and to see. To return is to listen to the wild birds calling you back into a belonging that has never left you. To return is to touch down into the center of your own heart, whispering, "Thanks for waiting for me." To return is not to arrive at some distant destination, but to recognize you've been standing on holy ground all along. To return is a sacred practice, the gentle art of beginning again, of calling your spirit back, of coming home to the blessing you were always invited to live. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me. A reminder that if you are not part of the Patreon community, you can join, and we do weekly community practices every Monday like this one. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being patrons. Thank you for placing your pre-orders. Thank you for showing up to share some sacred space of return with me. Thank you so very much. Oh, Jenny's in an airplane in Houston. I'm sorry you can't hear, but I'm glad you're here for a second anyway. Thank you, Anne and Mandy and Taryn. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Thank you, Janetta and Ruth and Kim and Colleen. Thank you for all the well wishes and the kind thoughts. I very much appreciate each and every one of you. Happy October, everyone. And thank you, Dawn. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Teal. Thank you, Bridget. Oh boy. Okay. So thank you so much for being here. Keep making space to return. Keep calling yourself back home. You are always invited back. You are always invited to return. Keep living your magic, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.